What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well today. Today we are going to be doing something a little bit different, but kind of the same. If you get that reference, then I respect you very, very highly. One of my favourite YouTube channels. Today I'm going to be answering a question that I've kind of had for myself for quite some time now, and that is how much of a difference really does fuel make to your lap times? So on the quote-unquote pro scene, when it comes to qualifying, like I have ingrained in my mind that 1 litre of fuel is you have to do it 100% because it saves the most time as possible. But I know some very fast people as well, like McChicken, for example, who run their race fuel for qualifying as well. And I mean, he's out-qualified me numerous times. So I want to see from my own test how much of a difference it really, really makes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3 separate parts of this video. So I'm going to try doing maybe 10 or so laps on 12 litres of fuel. I'm going to do 10 or so laps again on about 6 litres. And then I'm going to go all the way down to 1 litre, and I'm going to take the average of those 10 laps each time, see what I end up with, and we'll come to a conclusion really on how much time it saves overall. So first things first, let's get our 12 litres, and I also want to put on the Fast Boy tyres, just so I remember. And the reason that I have chosen to do this on Forest is because I feel like this is one of them tracks that I could run consistent lap times on this track all day long. You know, there really isn't a whole lot of practice needed. I'm just changing my camera options real quick, sorry. And let's just go for a rip. Now, this isn't going to be raw, you know, I'm going to do some cutting, I'll do some editing, just to make it a little bit more easier for you to watch. I am on the KTM 250, which I'll be honest, isn't a bike that I've ridden very, very often, but the person who seems to be dominating everybody in 250s right now, Mr. Skills, it's his bike of choice, so it can't be bad by any means. So let's run a few laps. I'll check in with you in a bit, and we'll see how these laps on 12 litres of fuel go. Or actually, do I take the scumbag line? No, I'm going to stay on track. The little scumbag line there, you can low line that jump if you jump on the far left-hand side. I'm going to behave myself just for this video. I don't want to add any more variables as such, because it's quite hit or miss on if you hit that line well or not. So I'm just going to take the track as it comes, nothing too crazy at all. And oh, that is not a very good one. Right, we are coming along here to complete our first lap out of the 10 that I'm going to do, and that's a 104.9, which isn't a terrible lap by any means, but it most certainly is a long way off of paces that I know I can run. I mean, I myself know that I've had a 101 before on the KX 250. Granted, that was on beta 16, so there's you need to take it all with a little bit pinch of salt right there, but we'll see how it keeps going. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a maximum of, say, 3 laps or so at a time, just so I don't run down all the fuel. I mean, I think if I get to about 11 litres, I should probably go back to the pits and stock up again. Otherwise, it really does defeat the point of this test. I want to have as much fuel as possible when I'm doing this maxed out fuel test. One thing I will say as well is I'm not sure if the fuel is a contributing factor in this, in terms of making the bike heavier, but this KTM 250, I feel like I can't actually break traction. It is so, it's so grippy, it's so tacky. And I think that is a little bit of a hats off as well to Mr. Jesse Mullock and the other guys that helped him with the tyres. But yeah, the 250s are actually insane. They're a little bit, I want to say they're quite, it's going to be really insensitive and feel like I'm offending people. They're quite noob friendly. It's very hard to get it wrong, whereas opposed to the 450, if you're like a millimetre pushing down the right trigger too much, you're going to do a 360, as I absolutely wad myself and ruin everything that I just said. So what I'm going to do actually is, because I crashed on that last lap, I'm going to completely discard that lap. I just want 10 laps, like solid laps that actually count, just to, again, remove any variables. If there's laps with massive mistakes in them, I don't see much point in including those, because it's not really going to be a fair test that way. So yeah, I'm going to take 10 solid laps, and at the end of it all, we'll put it all together, and we'll see what we're working with in terms of time differences. I did also slap the controller overlay back on. It's been gone for a few videos, and I thought that usually not having it on, it just makes the videos look a little bit cleaner, in my opinion. But I've seen a couple of you have been asking for it back, just because I feel like a lot of you do actually learn a thing or two from watching it and seeing when I'm leaning, when I'm kind of counter leaning, when I'm sitting, standing, and all that good stuff. So I slapped it back on for this video. Let me know if you want it to be here regularly, or if you prefer it without it. I'm very open to different opinions and advice. I've had a very, very good start to this lap. This is lap 6, well, lap 6 instead of count. I had that one mistake earlier. Lap 6 of the 12 litres, so I'm getting a little bit of a flow going, you know, feeling good. But yeah, the start of this lap's been very, very good, like 0.3 ahead of the other laps. Right, here we go for the 10th lap that will count if I don't wad myself, hopefully. Very, very close there, almost going off the back of the bike. But you know what? This KTM's actually really, really growing on me. Very, very good bike, which I don't think I've ever really shown much love. So, Skills, good shout on that one. There's a reason that you are kind of dominating everyone in the 250 class right now. But yeah, it's been quite interesting. So, I don't know if it's a placebo thing, but when I ride my 450, I usually feel like I know when I've got a lot of fuel in the bike. So even if without looking up at the top left of my screen, if I forget to put a setup on, for example, I know that I've got like the standard 7 litres as opposed to the 3 or so that I might run in normal 10-minute long races. But the KTM, it doesn't feel super sluggish right now, so I'll be very, very interested to see what the results actually show. I'm not going to show you the results after each stage. I'm going to wait until the very, very end, so you will have to stick around to the end of the video to see all that as I compile it. But there you go, that was the 10 laps done, and I think I averaged like a high 104, low 105. So yeah, not bad at all. That is 10 laps actually counted. And now I'm going to change it down to 6 litres, do exactly the same thing, and then I'll do 1 litre after that. Right, it is 6 litre time, and I think I've come out of the session and gone back in just so my exports show only the laps I want. I'm pretty sure my best lap out of those 10 that counted on 12 litres was a low 104, so it's with, I want to say like 104.3. There might have been a 104.0 in there somewhere, but I don't think I dipped into the 103s whatsoever. So, I mean, maybe that's the target. We'll just see if we can get into the 103s on 6 litres, and then maybe when we go down to 1 litre, see if we can get into 102s or something crazy like that. And come across the line, and would you look at that? I'm already on a 103.8. God damn, maybe there is some theory to it then. Maybe it does make a big old difference. Or maybe that was just a fluke and I had a good lap. Well, that's the reason that I'm doing 10 laps rather than 1. We're going to keep chugging along, see what sort of lap times we can put down, and yeah, keep going. Just went for my halfway pit stop there after going from 6 litres down to about 5, doing 5 laps in a row. I can already tell you my laps have been a lot better, like a good second or so a lap better. So I'm interested to see what the final results will say, especially when going down to 1 litre after this. There's something else that I did want to mention as well. So whilst at the moment at least the lap times are saying that it's faster to run less fuel, I feel like there's going to be a point where maybe having like more fuel is better. Obviously not 12 litres, because 12 litres is actually an insane amount. I'm pretty sure you can ride for 2 hours straight without running out of fuel with 12 litres. But maybe something like saying 5 litres is better than 2, for example. It depends on how you want your bike to handle. I feel like the bike is a lot more planted the more fuel you have in it, which I believe is just down to it being slightly heavier. I do think the OEM guys have kind of included that, so the bike handles differently with the more fuel in it. Little notices are, so it actually it turns a lot easier in. I feel like I don't have to brake as hard, and obviously straight line speed, it feels just a tiny bit different as well. But other than that, it doesn't feel like a huge difference, you know. It just feels a tiny bit more nimble. But the results, I suppose, really speak for themselves. It doesn't feel like it's a second faster, but the numbers don't lie. I feel like I've been a lot more consistent as well on this lower fuel. I feel like on the higher level of fuel, it was a little bit... The bike was a little bit less predictable. I don't know if it's maybe because my braking points, turn-in points were slightly different to normal, but I definitely feel a lot more comfortable running the 6 litres than I did the 12. We're about to start our last lap here. It's actually saying lap 11 at the top because I obviously crossed the line and had to go back to the pits and refuel. But yeah, look, this is... I mean, I suppose it goes without saying, it's common sense really, that 6 litres was going to feel better than 12 straight away. I am excited to see if there is any kind of time drop from 6 litres to 1, because I feel like I've had some laps during this little 10 lap session that I've really been on the edge, like really hard to aim time anywhere. So you can see at top left, my best time in this one is a 103.6, so just bear that in mind. We'll see what I do in the 1 litre set of 10, and then after that I'll give you all of the results. And I think I'm going to do it by kind of average lap, you know. I'm gonna add the 10 laps together, see what the average lap is, because I think that's the best way really of deciding if this was a fair test or not, and if the test results actually show what we expected. And here we go, final testing time. So I've got a 103.6 that I need to beat on this 1 litre setup, and we'll see how it goes. See if I have to try really hard or see if it comes fairly easily, and yeah, we'll get our results at the end. I mean, already the bike feels incredible. Somehow even grippier than it did before. I just feel like my corner speed's much higher, so I don't even know if you'll have to wait until the end of those 10 laps to see an improvement, because we might get one straight away here, which is, yeah, look at that, half a second off already on lap 1. 103.1 compared to the 103.6 on 6 litres and the 104.3 on the 12 litres. So, I mean, I'm still going to carry on doing the 10 laps because I do think it's the fairest way of checking and improving, but I mean, the numbers don't lie, you know, that is a pretty big difference. That's a good 1.5 seconds from 12 litres down to 1 litre. One danger that you will find when you kind of push limits in terms of fuel and you want to run as little as possible, which I've had in races before, is you get what I like to call fuel anxiety, where you're constantly checking up at the top the entire time to see if you're about to run out. I know that in the aerial races, which are 30 minutes plus 2 laps, people like to cull it as fine as possible. I'm talking leaving like 0.2, 0.3 of a litre left at the very end of a race, which, when you take a nationals track into account, where you're not sure, you could cross the finish line with a second to go and give yourself an extra lap. Very risky business, and there's been a handful of people that have run out of fuel during races. I like to give myself a litre to play with just in case, because you never know what's going to happen. Usually for a 30-minute plus 2 race for me, I sit around the 7 to 7.5 litre range just to be safe. I'm pretty sure you could get away with 6. Obviously it depends on your riding style as well. If you're on the limiter quite a lot, revving the bike loads, then you're going to use more fuel than if you're bogging it around the track. I consider myself quite a smooth person on the 450 at least. The 250 I feel like I just have it pinned everywhere as much as possible. That's the only way to ride them. Oh god, oh shit, yeah. Oh, I'm not going to count this lap, that was too big of a mistake for me to count. That does mess up the average lap right there. I'm going to keep you on board for this last lap, I think, because I'm not sure if throughout the point of editing this video I've done an entire lap with you or not, but just want to say the 1 litre, it's definitely a noticeable difference. So I don't, from 1 litre to 12, that is, from 12 to 6 and 6 to 1, it's very difficult to tell, but the jump from one extreme to another, I feel, is very noticeable. The bike definitely feels a lot more nimble, feels like it turns easier, comes to a stop easier, and I think it's all just weight related. You know, the bike's a lot heavier with the 12 litres as opposed to 1. It could be even more down to the fact that I'm used to riding the bike with less fuel a lot more than I am with more. So maybe I'm just better at the game when running low fuel, but I suppose it all comes down to your riding style and preferences. As soon as we've come to the end of this lap, I will get into the numbers. No idea how I'm going to present it, but I'm sure it will be be very lackluster. But either way, I feel like it's been a good experiment. It's one that it's been on my mind for a while at least, and I feel like I know the answer already before getting into the numbers, but there we go, there's our 10 laps. So I'm going to export this, and I will be with you with all of the numbers in 1 second. So, as you can see from my incredible table, we've got it all laid out here. We've got the 12 litres on the left, 6 litres in the middle, and 1 litre on the right. No surprises, I suppose, that the less fuel, the faster the overall lap time. The fastest lap time came with the 1 litre, and then the 6, then the 12. It just made sense, and that was the same case with the average lap time as well. 1.2 seconds was the difference in average lap time. So, whilst it's not a groundbreaking amount of time, that itself is probably the difference between maybe 1st and 5th, maybe even 1st to 10th in qualifying in the pro races, depending on how competitive it is that weekend, which is quite a huge difference, I would say. Now, there are some anomalies in there. There are some 12 litre laps that were faster than some 6 litre laps. There were some 6 litre laps that were faster than 1 litre lap. But that's why we've done this as an average. So to give yourself the best chance possible at getting the best lap, I think just running 1 litre for your qualifying is absolutely fine. And then when it comes to online races, usually they're about 10 minutes or so. Just mess around with some fuel. It doesn't matter if you run out of fuel in an online race here or there. Just kind of work out how much fuel you need for a certain length of time. And each bike is different. Each bike uses a different amount of fuel as well. So it will take some experimenting. But I hope that you found this video useful regardless. It's definitely cemented my ideas that I will continue to run as little fuel as possible without pushing the limits too far. If you did enjoy it or found it helpful at all, please drop a like on the video, it's greatly appreciated, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, whatever it is you're up to, and until I catch you in the next video, peace.
I'm working hard, I'm sacrificing my life, I'm sacrificing my mind, I'm sacrificing my sanity, but most importantly, I'm sacrificing my time. Boy, I feel fine, I feel like I am a king. Honestly, I can't complain, even with faith that's the size of a grain of some salt, I will still move a mountain and do what I want. I got salt to be